Hey, loves, welcome back to the Bits of Bri podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Ashlei Aaron. Looking beautiful as always, Ashlei.
Thank you, Bri. So do you. You look beautiful today.
I'm wearing this Lani Kai sweatshirt that my friend from Hawaii sent.
I
So
love it. I
I'm
love it.
so happy, dreaming of Hawaii these days. So I
Yes,
think we're
absolutely.
like under the 40-day mark till we go.
Are you
So
getting excited?
that's exciting. Yeah, I'm
That
really
is
excited.
so exciting.
I cannot wait. I think the kids are more excited than me at this point, though,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is the best. So
I would be too if I was them. That was such a fun, every time you guys go, but especially last summer, it just looked like such a good time.
it was a dream. It was a
Hmm.
dream. But
It's
how was your
beautiful.
Easter weekend?
My Easter weekend was good. It was exhausting. Why is hosting and prepping for parties and everything? It's so exhausting. I love it. I absolutely love it. The family was here. My mom came in from Florida, so I was excited because we hadn't seen her since last fall.
Oh
So,
my gosh, that's a long
yeah.
time.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And so I was really excited to see her and we had a good time. It was low key. The kids had a really good time. But yeah, it was just it's tiring hosting and cooking, but we survived. How was your Easter?
It was a busy weekend because it was also Landon's birthday.
Oh yeah.
So, because the kids had Good Friday off, we did his birthday party Thursday evening.
Okay.
So I feel like I was just same as you, go, go, go. Like I'm exhausted from the
Yeah.
weekend. It was his
Yeah.
birthday party prep all day Thursday. And I've never put all that stuff to the very last minute like I did. I feel like I've
Really?
switched. Like I've flipped a switch where I just have so many things going on that I only have a very limited amount of hours that I can dedicate to each task on my to-do list. And I
Mhm.
just sort of knew I was like, it's not going to be my typical party. It wasn't at the house either. It was at Top Golf.
Okay.
So you couldn't
Okay.
bring that much stuff in
Right.
to it. But even like 2 hours before the party, I was still running out, getting balloons, getting the cake that I refrosted myself. I
Yeah.
was literally up until the minute I had to pick them up from school, I was frosting this cake. And as
Wow.
soon as Landon got home, I was like, okay, you have to help me with the goodie baskets for your
Hmm.
friends. I
Yep.
did everything in the very last minute, but it all turned out great. And
It was so fun.
it was
And it was so
fun.
cute watching him help too. It's good for them to be involved. So they see how much you're actually doing. Plus, they'll do it for their
Mhm.
kids one day. So it's good
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. But so, yeah, so it was like an interesting Easter weekend because then Good Friday, since they had off school, we went out to lunch and then went to like one of our favorite restaurants. And kind of like, because it's like we're celebrating his birthday because his birthday was on actual Easter.
Mhm.
So I felt like he needed extra celebration, kind of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saturday, they went with their dad for half the day for his one family's side of Easter.
Okay.
And then Sunday morning, they had with me. So did Easter baskets, went to my mom's for brunch. And then he went to his dad's other side of the family for a little bit. And then I took him his like big birthday present wish he wanted was to go to the Cavs game because they were in the playoffs. And the first game he knew fell on his birthday. So I took him on Sunday. Adam's actually taking him to game 2 when we're recording this. It's tomorrow.
Okay.
So he's getting to go to the playoff games and he's just having so much fun. So I can't believe
And
he's
you
10.
had, I know, I can't believe he's 10 either. And you got him really good seats. His
You know,
seats were so good.
and I waited. That was another thing because I've had a lot of friends tell me this that the secret is wait until the very last minute. And I remember watching all these TikToks of people doing that for the Taylor Swift concert too,
Okay.
because those
Okay.
tickets were ungodly expensive, but they would wait until an hour or two before showtime and snag because then people just drop the prices because they just want to sell them. They want to make some kind
Right.
of money at least off of them.
Mhm.
So I did. I was watching for all the days leading up to it. I got those floor seats for, I mean, the day before they were double the price than what I paid for them 2 hours before we went to the game.
Okay,
So
I'm
yeah,
definitely gonna have to use that tip.
yeah.
Next time I want to go to a concert or a game, wait until the very last minute because they'll have some ticket available, right? And
Oh,
usually
there
the
was
more
still
expensive.
There was so many, and even so, where I was sitting, there was 4 in a row. That is the only thing. So if you have an odd number of people, it can be hard to get it last minute because
Okay.
on a lot of those sites, they're either trying to sell 2 tickets or 4 tickets. It seems to be
Okay.
like how the tickets are grouped. So there was 4 in a row because we were talking to my stepdad, and he was like talking about maybe he would try to come too.
Okay.
But I could only get the two, I couldn't get three. And people showed up after the game started. And I was like, how much did you get your tickets for? And they were like, yeah, the price dropped like crazy. So they did the same exact thing. Like they waited until the game started to buy the tickets and then came in.
That's
So
so smart
yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good hack. I'm gonna
Yeah.
use that.
But okay, we put a question box. We actually put two up on Instagram. One to answer your questions, and two, we wanted to try something new because I've seen other people do this and I think it's really fun. And it's a little confessional because I feel like it feels so good to confess your sins. And me and Ashley were talking about this. We're like, there's some stories we could tell that are a little bit confessional
Mm-hmm.
stories that we're going to share with you too. We want to share other people's and then we'll tell ours.
Yes, let's
Okay.
do it. These confessions are so good, Bri. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be so shocked. Do you want me
Okay.
to just start reading the confessions first?
Yes, please. I want to I
Okay.
want to I want to hear everyone's sins. Juicy stories. Spill the tea.
Okay. The first one says, I married my ex-husband and it destroyed the family I came from, and I 100% am not mad about it.
Wait, destroyed the family she came from?
Yep, destroyed the family she came from. And she said she's not mad about it.
Oh,
I
okay.
know. I wish she would have given more information. I wonder what about him destroyed the entire family.
Yeah, I
They
want
didn't
more
like it
details.
though.
Yeah, I want more details.
Okay, are you ready for this next one?
Yep.
Found out my husband was having an affair with a stripper, so I dumped Miralax into his water bottle.
Good
I
for you.
know.
He deserved that. He deserved more than Miralax.
Oh my God.
I mean,
Wild. You're right. Deserves more than Miralax.
yeah.
But you know what, though? I guess it would be more hurtful if it was somebody you actually knew. So either way, cheating's bad. Cheating's bad. Okay, are you ready
Mm.
for this next one? I reconnected with my high school crush via text, and and she did the spicy emoji.
Ooh, okay.
But I'm married. I
Oh, no,
know.
girl.
I know that's
Oh,
bad.
oh boy.
Playing with
Well,
fire. I know. We take a drink on that one.
I need more than my decaf coffee for that. I need some wine or something.
We listen and we don't judge.
That's some tea. That's
That
some
is
tea
some
right
tea.
there. Tea
That
is
tea is hot.
piping. Yeah.
Okay, this one, I've had a huge crush on my husband's cousin for the longest time, and it won't go away.
What are you gonna do?
I don't, hopefully she doesn't do anything. Hopefully she never acts on it, but she probably shouldn't have married her husband.
Well, yeah, did the crush happen before you
That's a
married
good
your
question.
husband?
That's a good
'Cause if you
question.
already married your husband and then it's like you see this cousin at a family event, that's kind of like, what are you gonna
What are you
do?
supposed to do?
Mm.
Okay,
That's a pickle. That's a pickle to be in.
that is a pickle.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one.
Hmm.
She said in her single girl era, she had sex with probably close to 100 men. These are spicy.
Now I want to put up a box to ask everybody what their number is. Like, what is everybody's number?
Do you think people will answer that?
Yeah, they will, for sure.
My
Look what
God.
people are confessing.
This
People
is
tell
wild.
everything. People need a place to confess.
No, they do for sure, but I knew they did it to hairdressers, but I didn't know that they would put it like on the internet
Well,
with their
they know I'm
name
not
and
sharing that. Like,
yeah,
I'm not sharing that.
yeah.
You know, that's between you and me, babe. We're the high priestesses
I
over
was just
here.
about to say, Bree, the high priestess. I was just about to say that.
High priestess energy today. Confess to me.
Are you ready for this next one?
Give it to me.
Okay. You're
Give
gonna
me
need
all the
it.
good confessions.
You're gonna need it for this next one. I got my husband's name tattooed on my ass.
Would you do that? Steven's name on your butt?
No. Okay, so are we ready for our confessions now?
Wait, is that what yours is?
That is
Do
my
you have a
confession.
tattoo?
I have no, my confession is even better. So I told you how when Steven and I we went on our first date, I basically moved in the next day and we were married a year later.
Okay.
It was wild, like our timeline and everything we did. And during that time, like we were looking for rings, like we just knew right away. It was wild. But we were probably, I actually had to text him because I couldn't remember how long it was. We were probably 8 months into our relationship, and
Hmm.
I got his name tattooed on my hip, and he got my name tattooed on his arm. We were not married or anything. We were just dating.
Wow.
Isn't that
Wow.
wild? Who does that? And could you imagine if my girls did that now? I'd be like, are you insane? But I don't have a leg to stand on because I did it. I literally
But I
did
feel like
it.
on your hip, and you can always get something to cover it up.
It's big though.
Oh, it's big.
It's not
Okay.
like it's not like Steven. It's like Steven. You know what I mean? It's like my whole
Mm.
hip. But
Mm.
yeah, I don't regret
Mm.
it at all. I just don't think it's something most people would do. And our friends definitely thought we were crazy. Like they thought we were insane.
I mean, they say when you know, you know.
I mean, married 16 years, so obviously it didn't jinx anything. That's what I was afraid of. I'm like, I hope it doesn't jinx anything, but it didn't.
All right. Keep these confessions coming. I'm loving this right now.
Okay. This one, she said, I secretly want to leave my husband, but I'm afraid.
Oh,
I know.
I think a lot of people actually have that confession. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Hmm. Maybe I just
Okay.
get a lot of DMs asking about that. Like I get a
Okay.
lot of DMs saying like, "I think I want to leave. Like, how did you know?" Like,
Okay.
or like, "Do you have advice before I tell him?" Kind of a thing. So
Yeah, I could
you're
see
not
that. That
alone.
makes
You're
sense.
not alone.
No.
Yeah.
And I experienced that too at the salon. A lot of women, they weren't sure if they wanted to stay in their marriage or if they should get divorced. And we would definitely talk it through and try to figure out like, because marriage, not it's not all highs. There are definitely some lows. And if you're in a low point, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get divorced. If it's salvageable, we definitely would like discuss that because you never want to see a family get broken up if you don't have to, but there are definitely situations where it's like, yeah, you would encourage the woman to leave. And we've talked about that in past episodes too.
Yeah, we have a whole episode about the
Yeah.
when to leave
Yep.
situation.
Are you ready for
Mhm.
this next one?
Okay.
This one is wild. Having a secret relationship with a husband that is my neighbor, but also our kids go to the same school.
Ooh, that could get messy.
Sounds messy already. We need to take a drink on that one.
Okay, so for ones like this though, I want updates. Like I want to know like do you guys end up being together? Do you guys decide like, you know what, like let's call this off. We shouldn't have done this and you die with that secret besides the fact that you confessed it to us? I want to know. Like I need updates to these things.
Yeah, I do too
I want to know
because
what happens.
well, and from what I've experienced, the husband never leaves his wife. Ever.
Mm,
Ever, ever, ever. That's never been what I've experienced when clients have come to me and told me that. Now, I'll tell you what has happened. The wife finds out, she divorces him or she
mm.
leaves him, and then all of a sudden they'll go back to that person and they'll say, "Oh, I left her." He did not leave her. She left him. So that's just something to keep in mind. And I feel like I've heard some male dating coaches online say the same thing like a man will never leave his wife. It's like so rare for it to happen.
Well, and that's why all the books that I've read about, basically like the rules of dating is
Yes.
don't ever touch whether it's a married man in a relationship,
Hmm.
don't touch it because of exactly what you just said
Hmm.
is it's going to be you whose heart gets broken.
Yep. Yep. So we need
So,
updates. We
so
do.
yeah,
We need to
just
know
I
how
kind
this
of want to
plays.
update and also like I just want to pray for you. Like I don't want you to get your heart broken.
No, no, we don't
Yeah.
want that. That's sad.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good one. I donated my eggs to my sister so she could have a baby. Isn't that so
Aw.
sweet?
That actually is really sweet. Aw.
That's
I
so
would
sweet.
totally do that for my sister if she needed me to do that.
You would?
You probably wouldn't
I
want me
love
to because
that.
I'm older than her, so, like, what I mean? I
She's like, I
don't
don't
know what
want
it
your
would be,
eggs.
but I would, yeah, for sure.
Aw, I love that. That's so sweet.
I actually
Okay.
looked into selling my eggs in college.
That is so crazy. Okay, tell me about that.
Well, that's how desperate I was for, like, money to pay for college, and I mean, what at the time, I don't know what it would have been now, but at the time, because you're in your early 20s, so you're in a very good health age, right, for your
Yep.
egg quality. And with my eye color being green, which is very, very rare,
Mhm.
they asked for your height and your weight. They asked for your GPA, so that probably had something to do with it too, because I had like near perfect GPA at that point.
Love that.
Um, I'm trying to think the other questions that they asked. But yeah, I think it was like $40,000 is what I would have gotten if I'd like sold my eggs.
Oh
But
my
I talked to my mom
gosh.
about it, and my mom actually is who talked me out of it because she was like, "Brianna, that's still like your baby. And like, what if somebody's abusing that baby?" And I'm like, okay, but what if that baby has the best life ever? Like the fact that these people could pay $40,000 for an egg, like I'm assuming
Mhm.
that baby, might have incredible opportunities. And she's like, but that's still like your baby. And so I decided against it, but I did. I looked into it to see if it could pay for college, and it would have.
Okay. 40,000.
Yeah.
As a desperate college woman, I could see how that would be enticing for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Are you ready for another one? This one
Oh
is,
gosh. I don't know if I'm ready for any of these. These are
I know they're so good. This one is wild though. Okay,
okay.
I'm just gonna say it. She said, one time I did it in church.
Like actual church or like a church closet.
Yeah, we need more information. Church closet, coat check in the church.
I got some questions.
We have
Like
lots
actual
of
church
questions.
service or like after hours in the church? Because I just
Exactly.
feel like my church when I was growing up, I always thought this was crazy. They would have like lock-ins,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yep.
I am sure there was probably some scandalous behavior.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good point. Or
Yeah.
what was it called?
I mean, I do know like I don't know if anybody's doing anything bad, but I remember at like the middle school lock-ins, like people were making
Yes.
out,
Yes. That's
so
exactly what I was thinking.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we need more information. Were you a teenager? Was it a lock-in? Is it like in the coat closet? Where exactly did this take place?
Those were good confessions though. Like you
Right?
guys delivered on that. We're gonna have
They
to do this
did.
again. Those were great confessions.
Was so
Yeah.
much fun. But okay,
Yeah.
Bree, now I need to know, what is your confession?
Oh, you're right. I didn't share mine. I mean, I have so many. Okay, no, this is one we've talked about this because I don't want to be the pot calling the kettle black. And I would never give anyone else this advice of what I did. So it's basically one of those do as I say, not as I do things. Like, I mean, and you know this, Ashley. I would never let Presley do this. I would be like, no, like let them come to you. You don't ever chase a man. But
Yep. Yep.
I did do something that maybe one day I'll write into a romance novel that it played out differently. But I
Yes.
do I do feel like the way it played out though is the lesson of this is why you don't do this. Okay, this is why you never chase a man. You are not the pursuer.
You are the
Right?
prize. You are the prize and they pursue you. And I do typically subscribe to that idea, so it was partially my fault because I encourage this behavior. But go ahead, continue.
This is true. Ashley and we talked about this a while because I was on the fence like, should I do this? Should I not do this? But okay, to start from the beginning. I had someone that I had gone out with a couple of times. And one of the times he invited me over this man's house, was apartment, for a tailgating party. And so I had his address from being invited to his apartment for this tailgate party. And it was just one of those things that when I saw him at this party, it was instant sparks, like magnetically attracted to each other. And also, I have to mention one of the cleanest, most organized apartments I've ever been in. Like, I was impressed. It was immaculate. So nice. I was like, okay, this is top level, top tier. Well, couple more events roll around. I happened to see him at a couple of things, and every single time I saw him, it was that same like pull towards each other. And we'd had a conversation the first time I was ever at his apartment, or we connected on a bunch of things. And he remembered all the little details every time we would see each other. He would ask follow up questions. And so I just felt like, okay, I think there's maybe something here. And he didn't have social media, which I also find very attractive when guys don't have social media.
Same.
So, what'd you say?
Same. I agree. No social media. We love that.
Yeah, it's nice to know that where their priorities are and they're not wasting time on social media, all that. So I had no way to contact him, but every time I bumped into him places, I was always like, ooh, but it's funny, I would bump into him. One time I was on a date and saw him, at the Cavs game when I was on a date with someone else. So I was just in talking with Ashley about it, I kind of felt like, well, there's no way for me to like even DM him, but I had his address. And so kind of popped into my brain. I'm like, what would be the reason that you would send something in the mail to somebody and Valentine's Day was coming up? So Ashley and I talked about this.
We did
And I decided I
extensively.
was going to send him a Valentine's Day card. And I mean, I thought this was clever. I thought this was really clever. In the Valentine's Day card, I wrote, hey, I just mailed you. This is crazy. So here's my number. Call me maybe. And I left my phone number. And sure
She came
enough,
up with this all on her own. And I was like, oh my God, Brie, that is genius. I loved it. Remember? I was like, you have to do it. You have to do it.
I mean, it was very creative. And I feel like right out of a rom com, right out of a very
Yes.
sugary, sweet, sappy rom com.
Mm-hmm.
But send the card like day before Valentine's Day, I think. Maybe it was Valentine's Day. I'm trying to remember. So I get a text and it's him. He got the card and he was like, oh my gosh, like this was the nicest thing, nicest surprise. He ends up calling me then, basically tells me I have felt this way every time that I see you. One of the times I saw him, he actually had a date and he said they broke up because she was really mad because I had like, just made conversation with him and like asked a question about something. And I guess he didn't like the way that she like responded and was kind of catty towards me or something. So according to him, he broke up with this girl because of that. I don't know. Basically, it seemed
Yep.
like we both felt this connection that like I felt from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. He's very much made it clear that it was a mutual connection and was like, well, what are you doing this week? And I was like, oh, well, I'm going to see my sister down in San Antonio. I'm like helping her move. And he's like, well, when do you get back? And I said, Tuesday. And he's like, well, like what time Tuesday? And I was like Tuesday afternoon. And he's like, well, can we go out Tuesday night? So I was like, okay. He's like very excited about going out. And we texted just a little bit when I was in San Antonio. And I was kind of asking, like, okay, like, what are you thinking for Tuesday night? And there was just no effort put into the plan or the date or anything like that. We did end up just going to like grab dinner and drinks, but yeah, then nothing came of it after that. It totally fizzled out. Totally fizzled out.
It was so shocking too because he was really playing it up like he felt the same way and he was so grateful that you reached out to him because really there was no other way you guys were ever going to connect unless he walked away from a date he was currently on and tried to like approach you. And that's why I was just so shocked. Like I know that men should be the one to pursue, but I just was not expecting that outcome. And I guess it's a lesson learned, ladies. Like we're telling you right here on the podcast, like, do not pursue that man. It doesn't work.
I
And I
mean, really,
should
that's
say
what I would
all
say
women,
is
but
don't do it. Like, if you're even thinking about doing it, don't do it. I feel like, we bumped into each other enough. And maybe that was also God's way of being like, well, it's clearly not meant to be because either you're on a date or he's on a date.
yep,
And yeah, then it all just kind of fizzled out. But
exactly.
yeah. And, I did pray that prayer. Like, I was praying that prayer a lot at that time too of
You were.
please, anything that is not my husband, clear it out. And so maybe I'm just going to take it as that was God's sign of being like, nope, wasn't him.
God was like, he is definitely not the one.
Yeah. But
at
it's
all.
a cute story, isn't it? Like if I rewrote that as like it worked out.
Like literally a Hallmark movie. You need to rewrite that, like, but with the ending working out, and it would have just been such a cute story. Man, we
I
should have
know.
saved that for somebody else, but that's okay. Lesson learned. Never again.
Well, maybe a guy out there listening,
Could
you
use
can steal that
that.
idea
Yes,
for sending a Valentine's Day card.
that's a great idea. I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. But this is
Mhm.
why I tell you, I think I would be the best dating coach for men because
You
I come
would.
up with all these clever ways that you
You
could
do.
pursue somebody, but I just can't do them myself, clearly.
No, doesn't work for women apparently. Men don't like that type of creativity. They don't appreciate it the way women do. Maybe it's just lost on them. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I thought it was great. Even
Ladies in that
Steven.
like 5 to 10 age group right now, just wait like 20 years and my sons, they're going to be, I'll
Ready
coach
to
them.
go.
I'm going to coach these boys to be the most impeccable dates ever. So,
Raising up the next generation of men, dating well. The lost art of dating and pursuing.
oh my gosh, true.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back. Ugh. Okay, well, that's my cheese ball confession. It's
Okay.
embarrassing, but
It's not embarrassing. That was a good one. Hey, at least imagine if my story wouldn't have turned out well. Imagine if my confession was I tattooed some random man's name on my hip, like large, something that I would have to think of something rather large to cover it up, and we broke up the next day or like a month later. Could you imagine? My
oh my
confession was
god.
only a little tense until, you find out that it worked out. But yeah. I feel like yours was good. And it was my fault because I encouraged it. We have to try things out because we're here for the ladies. Like, we're here to serve. And so, if they're ever wondering, should I have pursued him? No, it doesn't work out. Don't do it. Just wait for him to do it. If a man
Oh,
wants to,
God.
he will figure out a way. Okay. If he knows your name, your first name, and your last name, he will figure it out.
There you go.
We know
This is
this
true.
now.
This is
Did he
true.
know your last name, do you think?
I don't know if he would have known my last name, no.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
That would have been hard. That's why
Yeah.
I feel like I was half like into it, right? Because I was like, how else is he going to find you? I have a lot of questions. Do you want to get into questions now that we had fun with the confessions?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's answer some of these questions.
Okay, this one is a good one. You'll be good at
Okay.
answering this one. How can we
Okay.
make money from social media?
Oh my gosh. Well, take my YouTube course because YouTube's definitely where it's at because you're getting paid from so many different revenue sources because Google AdSense pays you, like different brands on your channel that you're getting sponsorships, payment from that way, using affiliate links for anything, clothes, makeup, furniture, decor, anything you can buy, you can link and make affiliate income from. And then also you can create whether it's your own products or courses or merchandise. There's so many opportunities available just based on what your niche is, what your interests are, what type of entrepreneur you are, what your skill set is. That's what I love about YouTube. It's just like such a beautiful place. But blogs, I mean, also get Google AdSense. Instagram, Facebook aren't going to, as far as like views go, pay as well as YouTube. That's why I always suggest YouTube first. That's where you really get the bang for your buck. But you can make a little bit from Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, just based on your views. But really, again, all those platforms, the bigger your audience, the more you grow it, you can be also getting brand sponsorships. And same thing if you're selling merch or courses or anything like that, you can use all of those platforms to kind of sell those things too. But I think that's the quickest way I can explain how you make money on social media.
That's a great answer.
Am I missing anything, Ashley?
No. I mean,
I mean,
there's
you've taken
also
my
other,
course, so
yeah. Oh, I loved your course. Your course was so good. But there's even other ways, like if you don't want to be a content creator, you could use Bree's course. Like if you are just looking at ways to market your business, you can take her course and just use your business as a way to get everything out there on Instagram, YouTube, all of that. And you have different courses, right? Don't you have a course for Instagram and a course for YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's really nice. I took the YouTube one. I highly recommend YouTube. But yeah, there's like passive income that you can make. And I took your course, started my YouTube channel, which I love. And that's like my passion. I got to get back to it. I'm hoping to be posting videos again this week. But after I took your course, you introduced me to Justin. And then I was able to not only learn how to negotiate brand deals, but then I became like, basically a brand manager. I was like director of marketing for a tech company, and I was able to pitch her to brands. So, using your course, using Justin's course, all these courses, you can do so much in marketing and social media. It's like sky is the limit because this is just such a newer industry as far as sales go. And so, like you can create whatever you want. It's amazing. And the money is insane. And if you get into TikTok and you get into the creator fund and you even do like their affiliate where you're just like linking stuff from TikTok, I mean, people say on the all the time on there, they're making tens of thousands of dollars a month. Now, TikTok can take that all away from you pretty quickly, like for any given reason. Like I've heard people, they'll make insane amounts of money for like a year and then they'll do like one thing wrong and TikTok will like take it all away. But I don't know. TikTok is kind of scary to me. I feel like you could go all in and make a ton of money, or just don't become dependent on it because it could disappear tomorrow. It's not like Instagram and YouTube. Like Google's not going anywhere. YouTube is not going anywhere. Instagram is probably not going anywhere. So I agree with Bri. Start there. YouTube and Instagram, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing I would add too is like how you were saying for so many other businesses. That's one of the other things I don't really talk about a lot, but I do a lot of consulting work or even individual coaching with people. So if that is something, whether you have a business and you're just like, hey, I'm trying to figure out how I can be utilizing social media better for my business, or like I've worked with politicians on how they can enhance their campaigns using social media, really the sky's the limit. So whatever your business is, real estate agents, I've helped them figure out, how to use social media better for their businesses as well. I mean, I can kind of help in whatever way you need if you're listening out there and it's like, yeah, I should be using social media to my advantage more. I can help.
Make money pretty quickly. Like I started making money after taking your course. I think I became monetized on YouTube a month and a half, 2 months later after taking your course. Like it was insane. I don't think I ever could have done that if I wouldn't have taken it. So I feel like it's very, very helpful. And if it's something you're
Oh,
interested in at all, definitely look into it. I'm not just saying that because we're friends. Like that's how we became friends. I took her course and then we were doing YouTube together and then we connected. But I'm telling you, some people, they can be on YouTube for years before they get monetized. And I am just at my big age where I don't feel like wasting years trying to figure out a business model. I just want to know the quickest way to get there, the fastest way to do it. And the course does that. It's so helpful. I highly, highly recommend.
that's why I was like figuring it all out on my own. It was the wild, wild west 10 years ago, too.
I bet.
So I just created the course because I was like, I would love to help anybody not make these mistakes that I made, that I could have been, staying home and having more flexibility for my kids so much sooner if I hadn't made all
Mhm.
of these mistakes, right? If I'd
Mhm.
known I was doing from the beginning. So that's kind of was the goal of get you going as fast as possible. So still a lot of work. Like you have to put in the work for creating the
Mhm.
content and making the videos, but it's, if you follow the blueprint, it should all happen much faster than wasting 2 years, basically, is what I feel like I wasted figuring it all out. So,
You're right, though. It was the Wild West then. And I've actually referred so many people to your course as well because I feel like you've learned everything. You know what to do, what not to do. And I think that's probably why you ended up helping like politicians and people in real estate because they're also like me. They don't have time to waste. They want to do it now. They want it already done. And it's easy. Like I see so many people, they want to be creators. And I'm like, not that being a creator is easy because it is hard work, but I'm saying taking your course, it's so easy to understand. It's so straightforward. I always tell you I love your teaching style. And I feel like it probably would resonate with a lot of people. It's very, very easy to digest and it's fun and it's inspiring.
oh.
So I
Well, thank
feel like,
you.
yeah, no, I feel like people should really look into it. If you're getting questions like that, like how to make money on social media, definitely start with the course. This is a good one, Bri. Would you or have you dated outside of your race?
Yes.
You have. You
Yeah.
actually, what I love about you is you do have a type in the sense that, like, you want them to, we already said they don't have to be crazy tall, but you want them to be fit. But you really are willing to date men of different races. And I love that you keep your options open because if you put them all side by side, minus like they have a similar build, they're all very different. Wouldn't you say?
I don't have a necessary type, but
Yeah.
there's certain qualities in a man, and personality is so big. Personality, intelligence. And when I say personality, it's really it is I don't care what race you are. If you are a generous, strong leader, like I'm going to find that so attractive, so much more than what your height is, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I've been very proud of you. You've dated some good ones. Okay, this one is kind of tied to that one as well. What dating apps are best?
I would say overall, I think Hinge is probably best quality, but I can't say I love it. I think it's also where are you at in your dating phase? I think if
Okay.
you're looking for a more serious relationship, I would say Hinge. If you're casually dating and looking to have more fun, probably Bumble, Tinder. If you're looking for a more elevated type of dating where you're like, I can travel and like it just kind of depends on, I think, like what your stance is on dating. Cause I know not everybody is like, oh, yeah, I'll jump on a plane to go meet somebody.
What was that one? Was it Match.com? What was like the OG, like one of the first dating
The
sites?
OG one is Match. And I did see an ad recently where I think they have some new type of compatibility test.
Hmm.
And I mean, I would be interested to see. I've never been on Match, but I would be interested to see if, you know, but I do think like you're saying it's an OG one from what I've heard. I think it also depends on your age. I think there's a lot of people probably in their 50s on Match because it
Okay.
sort of got introduced right when
Yes.
those
A
people
long
were a little
time
bit
ago.
younger, and I feel like it kinda
Yep.
like they're growing with it sort of a thing, whereas, like, friends get divorced, they say, like, "Oh, well, I met somebody on Match, 10 years ago," and so that's why
Exactly.
yeah, so I think it might depends on, like, your age range too.
You want to
So,
hear something crazy?
yeah.
I had a client. I felt so bad for her. I remember I was doing her hair, and I don't remember if it was a friend or if it was her cousin, but I was literally in the middle of doing her hair, and she had found out from this person that her fiance was on Match. I know. I know. She was so stunned. And that wasn't a time when dating apps were not like a thing. Match was like one of the first, right? And
Yeah.
so it was like navigating this whole new like idea. And yeah, her friend or cousin, somebody, I can't remember exactly who, but they had found her fiance on the dating site. Obviously, it was a girl. I don't know if they were matched. I didn't get all of that information. She's happily
Yeah.
married now, the client, and she's totally fine. But could you imagine that's how you found out? Which I'm sure that probably happens all the time now,
Well, because
unfortunately.
of those sites, the "Are we dating the same
Right?
guy?" I feel like that's where women are like, he's engaged or
Yeah.
he's married," and
Okay, we have more questions though. He said, my question is really long, so I'm just going to type it here because it won't fit in the box. But basically, my husband and I are thinking of starting a family. I am 34 and he is 30. For some reason, when he turned 30, he was extremely excited and ready and wanting children right now. Whereas I feel a little bit less pressured for time. It's just my personality. I'm a very flexible person and that I let God and the universe dictate when things are supposed to be. I have faith that things will happen during the right time, if that makes sense. My question is, when is the right time to try for children? Is there ever a right time? And do you both feel like you had a similar situation situations when you went to try to have kids. I think a lot of it is me being nervous and scared. It's not that I don't love children. I love my husband. It's just such a life-changing experience, and the world we live in right now is such a freaking mess. I mean, girl, I get it. That's hard. It is
Yeah.
really hard. And I do even see people at churches and kingdom halls, they talk about like not wanting to have children right now because of everything that is going on in the world. So I feel like that's a very valid feeling that she is going through right now. And I think it just goes to show what an amazing parent she's going to be, that she's putting so much thought into not just going and having a baby, but making sure that she's ready. So tell me what you think.
Yeah. Well, I think one, she's just being so vulnerable and sharing all of that. And I'm sure there's so many other women sitting there having the same feelings with everything that is going on in the world of, is this something I want to do? Also, I think that people are just being more open about motherhood isn't just all sunshine and roses. Like it is really, really hard.
Hmm.
Like you're saying, pregnancy is hard on your body. So much is going on right now, too, where they're taking away women's healthcare services.
Hmm.
So, God forbid something happens to you in those early stages of a pregnancy, depending on what state you live in, you might not get the proper care to survive.
Hmm.
Like, let's be
That's a very
really
good point.
realistic about that. If you have, unfortunately, a miscarriage where a DNC would be required so that essentially you don't have tissue left in your body that's going to.
Rot and decay and cause you to become septic.
Yes, you can go septic if that tissue from your body isn't properly removed and you live in a state that doesn't allow DNCs, aka it's medically coded as an abortion, even though you don't even have a living baby inside of you anymore. I can see why women are very scared of, should I even get pregnant right now?
Hmm.
But I do think something you said at the beginning of her question of she believes like God and the universe and it will happen at the right time. There was a side of me that it's like, well, you love your husband. And if your husband is telling you he's ready, maybe just have that conversation with him of like, really have him validate maybe some of the concerns you're having. Like, okay, what does it mean for you? Like, how are you thinking you're going to support me as a partner during a pregnancy?
Hmm.
If worst case scenario happens, how are you going to support me that first year when we have a baby that isn't sleeping? You know,
Hmm.
how are
Oh, yeah.
like I would really like if I could go back and ask all of these questions to any person that I was marrying, if they said like, yeah, I want to have a family, I would be talking about all of these things and just getting a gauge on what type of a partner they are because I, felt very, very alone postpartum.
No,
And
you're so right.
I would just want to make sure that whoever you're having a baby with is going to be a partner so that you don't feel alone and that you're not going through all of that by yourself. So,
I
I don't
agree.
know.
And
What would you say, Ashley? Am I?
no, that is exactly it. And to expand on that, I was even going to say, what do you like? What is the family going to look like once the baby is here? So, even if you guys navigate through, is she the provider? Are you the provider? Who is the breadwinner in the situation? Because if she ends up having to be on bed rest or, God forbid, has issues with her pregnancy, like how is he going to be able to support? But towards the end of me doing hair, I was so shocked to see how many men wanted the woman to be the provider and they wanted to be stay-at-home dads. I was literally hearing men have these conversations and I was like, okay, that's all fine and well, but you have to make sure you communicate that to your partner and that she also is willing to agree to that because I don't think a lot of women realize that's how some men feel and that's what they want. So the woman is thinking that you're going to work, she's going to work, but the whole time you're just planning on getting her pregnant because you don't want to work anymore and you want to be a stay-at-home dad.
Okay, yeah. So I would make sure that that isn't the case for you.
Because
So I
I
can
know
tell you that
somebody,
it's not going to work as a
it's not
mom.
going to
And
work.
that's the thing. I will say this full honesty. Before I ever got pregnant, I in my head thought, okay, I'm going to have my baby and I will go back to work after I had my baby.
Yep.
I had that baby. did not want to go back to work. My maternal instincts kicked in. I wanted to be with my baby. Does that happen to every mom?
No.
No, but I can tell you the majority of moms I've talked to who thought the same as me originally
Yep.
had their baby, and majority, I would say probably 75% were like, nope, I wanted to stay home with that baby. Going back to work was one of the most difficult
Yep.
mentally, physically, especially if you continued nursing that first year when your baby wasn't with you and you're having to pump and all that. It is one of the most taxing, draining, physically demanding things on you because you're still not sleeping, even though you're working, let's say even just a 9 to 5 or whatever kind of job it is. You're coming home, you're not sleeping. And even for stay at home moms, that first year is the hardest year of your kid's life because you
Mhm.
are so physically drained, mentally drained from all the hormone changes, thinking of everything that your new baby needs. It is such a huge adjustment until they say it takes 2 years for a mom to fully recover postpartum after having that baby from everything.
Yeah.
So
In
yeah,
other
I just
countries,
I
that's
feel
how
like you
long it
might
is.
think in your head before you have that baby, "Oh, no, I'm gonna wanna go back to work." And I do have a friend who's like, "For my mental health, I like being
Yep.
able to go to work. It's a
Yep.
good break for me. I have a family support system that I know my kids are taken care of when I'm not there." She likes it. I think
Hmm.
that's fine. Every woman, I think, should have that choice. But I will say, I thought I was going to be that way, and I was not that way. So you don't know sometimes until you are holding that baby and your hormones and everything speak to you. So make sure you have kind of a what are my options if I feel that way,
Hmm.
right? Do I have the option of not going back to work? If
Yeah.
and you don't know, you might have a baby who's born with certain needs too.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
don't know,
Hmm.
until you have that baby, that maybe that baby does need a lot more care and you need to be with that baby and not go back to work. Like,
Yep.
I get it. It's a big, I feel like this is such a negative answer to something that really is my greatest blessing. I love my kids more than anything, but there is a reality that I do think women need to talk about and think about because it really does change your life in such a huge way. And you do want to do what's best for every kid out there. Every baby, every kid deserves the best parent possible and the best, happiest mom possible because that's what we know mean that a kid has a successful life is if mom is happy. So, biggest indicator of a kid's success.
I don't think it's a negative answer at all. I feel like it's a conversation we had all the time at the salon. People would always ask, "How do you know when he's the right one?" It was like when they were dating, right? And then they would say, "How do you know that you're like ready for kids?" And we would always say like, "You'll never have enough money. You'll never be like fully ready." Because the thought of childbirth is terrifying. I used to say all the time, like, I really want a baby, but I just want to figure out how to not have to be physically in the delivery room. I just want her to just be born. And then I ended up having to have an emergency C-section. So I feel like I kind of manifested it because I didn't have
Oh
to pull
my
it out, right? I had to have an emergency C-section because I was young. So when I asked my doctor, I'm like, should I do vaginal birth or should I do a C-section? He's like, you're young. You should try vaginal birth. And then my heart rate started to drop. Hers started to drop. So I ended up having to have emergency C-section. But I don't think this is a negative response. I think it's actually very thoughtful. And I think it's really, really important for women to have these conversations, whether it's at the salon, with a group of like friends that you trust, with your family. It's hard sometimes with family because family can be super biased. Like if they don't like your partner, they may always be like, no, you shouldn't have kids. But I do think that the world is changing, times are changing. I do know that some men want to be stay-at-home dads. So if that's the case, that's a conversation you need to have because I was just like you, Bri. I thought I would just be young, single, fabulous, never have children, never anything. Then I met Steven. I immediately wanted to get married. Then when we had a baby, I always thought I would want to go back to work, and I did not want to go back to work. I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom so bad. I wanted to be with my baby. I loved nursing. I loved everything about it. The newborn phase, oh my gosh, it was just the most incredible thing ever. And I never even liked kids. I didn't like kids. So to have this baby and have these overwhelming feelings of just being, you're so obsessed with this little human. And what Bree said is not every woman feels this way. I had, but like you said, it is a large amount. It was like 70% of women did feel this way. They were so obsessed with their baby, they wanted to be home with them. But then there were the few that had a baby and immediately were like, this is not really for me. I need to go back to work for my mental health, and that's fair too. But that's why you have to have those conversations because does he expect you to stay home and take care of the baby? Does he expect you to be the provider? How many children does he want to have? Because some men will want like 5 kids. What if you physically can't have 5 kids? Like I couldn't have 5 C-sections. I think there's like a limit to how many C-sections you can have. Like, and so if I can't, naturally push them out, like these are all things you have to talk about. But I know somebody very, very close to me where she is the provider and he is not, and he wants her pregnant immediately. And he wants to be a stay-at-home dad. And I don't know if she really understands what that means because I've had friends who they go on bed rest, Brie, at 3 months pregnant.
I'm going to make a very probably unpopular opinion. Like they're going to come at me for this one. Do not have a baby with somebody who wants to be a stay-at-home dad. I'm sorry. Don't.
I feel like
Don't.
it's a really big, it's a huge red
Don't.
flag. And I know people
Huge
are going to
red
come
flag.
for us,
Huge red flag.
but
I'm
it's like,
sorry. Do not do it. Do not do it.
I
I'm
know.
repulsed by that actually. Like the thought of it, I'm repulsed. I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
And I know somebody's going to come after me. It's not that I don't think that dads don't have a role and can't be nurturing,
mhm.
but no, with everything I've experienced in my life, I would run as fast as I could in the opposite direction of that. Run as fast as I could in the opposite direction of that.
In some of
Run.
the relationships I've seen, it's been used as a control tactic, which I know it can be too, making a woman be a stay-at-home mom. That can be used as a form of control. But I feel like in these situations, the men who have mentioned they want to be stay-at-home dads, it definitely would be a form of control. They're controlling the kids and they'll it's just there's a lot of conversations you need to have. I feel like once you have to answer a long answer to make it much shorter is you need to have hard conversations. And if you can't have hard conversations with your husband, you shouldn't be having children because let me tell you, your conversations are going to get so freaking hard when you have kids. You also need to like discuss certain things like disciplining. I had so many clients who had marital problems, Brie, because they did not agree on disciplining. Some parents spank, some don't spank. Like, I've never spanked my kids. My husband has never spanked my kids. I think if he spanked my kids, I would have a hard time with that. So you just have to have those conversations. How do you want to raise the kids? Do you want them to go to school? Do you want them to be homeschooled? Having a baby is the most beautiful thing that you'll ever do if you do it with the right person. And if you have these conversations, if you guys are on the same page, the world is a mess. And I definitely think that you should have the conversations about, well, if something goes wrong, how are we going to get me somewhere safely where I can, do this? There's a lot to talk about, but I feel like the conversations will make you feel better about your decision or shed light on the fact that you might not be married to the person that you think you are because children will teach you a lot about somebody. It will either bring out the good in them or it could bring out the bad in them. And hopefully, in your case, it'll be the good. But have these conversations and you will know exactly what to do. I promise.
Yeah. Keep your faith in God. You're going to pray on it and you will know what to do after having probably some conversations about it.
But isn't it funny how in other countries, women get 2 year maternity leave?
I will die on that hill because I've talked about that a million times. That's one of my things about the United States. Why are we going back after 12 weeks? No other first world country is doing this. It makes no sense medically.
And hairdressers go back even sooner. So you're
Okay.
basically self-employed. You're like renting out your booth. You're doing all that kind of stuff. There's no maternity leave. So basically, if you have a C-section, you go back to work as soon as the doctor clears you because there's no money coming in. That's another thing, depending on the type of job you have, like who is going to pay for the maternity leave? Because if you don't have the type of job where it gives you 12 weeks, you might not be able to afford to take that many weeks. Now, if in my industry, if you're, and also your clients, like if you are gone for 12 weeks, are your clients still going to be there when you get back? Are they going to be mad that you were gone for so long? There's just so much. And honestly, I would have loved 2 years, 2 years to just be at home with my baby in that little newborn bubble. That would just be so amazing. But yeah, we don't have that here. And we don't even have paternity leave. Do we have paternity leave here in the US?
Think the only time you have it is if, depending what company you work for, certain companies, if they are a European company, I've
Okay.
heard offer it.
Okay.
You can still under FMLA, but who knows? All of this might be getting thrown out the window with everything currently. But FMLA, I know I had a guy who worked for me when I was still like working in my corporate job,
Mhm.
and he filed for FMLA when his wife had a baby, and I was all for it. I was like, take it. And he's like, well, I'm only going to do 8 weeks. I'm like, well, you can take 12. And
I
he's like,
love
no,
that.
I'll only do 8. Because he had some of the same, as a provider, he had those same concerns of like, well, I still want to make sure that like when I get back, what I'm doing, like that everything's going to be up and running, that it wasn't
Yeah.
going to impact his salary or anything like that. But I was like, take as much time. I was all for it. I was like, take as much time as you want to take to help your wife and the new baby. Like I don't know why the US doesn't understand that, but
Yeah,
someday
I
I'll
mean,
run for president. Just kidding.
I would vote. I would absolutely
Everyone gets
vote.
a year of parental leave.
My
So,
gosh, that would just solve so many problems. But yeah, I feel like that was the longest answer ever, but I feel like it's because we're very passionate about it. Don't you
we
feel like
are
that's
really
why?
passionate. Yeah.
Especially you, like you've talked about that on your platform as long as I've known you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
It's
you
definitely
like,
one of the things I will get behind any candidate that is actually caring about mother and children's
mhm,
rights and like proper health care. Proper health
yes.
care. It solves so many problems. And I don't want to go all conspiracy theorists, but like I think it's coming out, right? Like the food's poisoning us because they're trying to get everybody addicted to medicines or have health problems because of how much money can be made in that industry. Well, the same goes for this. Do you know how many health problems, especially mental health problems, would
Mhm.
be solved for women both postpartum and for their children in the future because they're actually able to have proper bonding time with their mom? Like that is such, I don't know, it's common sense to me, but I mean
Anyone
that's
who's had a child, yeah,
right.
common
And
sense.
that's where I'm just like, okay, yeah, we're making sure that like kids are getting sick and everything. It's like, why are the rates of all these childhood illnesses and things rising? It's because
Mhm.
moms aren't able to be there to properly care for their children that first year. It's a very simple fix. It's a very simple fix. And every other first world country has been able to do it.
The United States.
I would be reallocating some funds very quickly, let me tell you.
Okay, the next question, you'll like this one, Bri. How to get
Oh, I will.
husband.
Why is that?
You'll like this one. Because it's, I mean, I feel like it's helpful, and this is something that a lot of women can relate to. Okay,
Okay.
she's asking how to get husband more hands-on with kids and housework. I'm a stay-at-home mom.
I'm gonna like this one.
You don't like this one because I feel like you would have liked somebody giving you this advice back in the day. It would
Well,
have,
yeah,
there are some ways if God forbid you didn't pick the right one, you could try to hopefully like coax them in the right direction. And I feel like being a
well,
stay-at-home mom
okay,
is
I'm gonna say
hard.
this. I'm gonna say this. This is why this question irritates me to no end. I'm in a mood today, you guys. I'm just like, I hate
I
the
love it.
patriarchy right now. Because if these grown men lived by themselves in an apartment and you weren't there, had their own home and you weren't there, they would be doing all the housework. And if they weren't doing all the housework, they would be delegating it out to a
Hmm.
housekeeper, a laundry service, a yard maintenance crew, whatever it might be. They would be handling all of it.
Hmm.
And that's what I think is so aggravating, frustrating. I have a lot of emotions on this. Why do a married man, when they have a wife who's a stay at home mother, stay at home wife, Why did they all of a sudden act incompetent? To me, like, why would you emasculate yourself that way? Why would you make yourself look so stupid and so childish?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
it boggles my mind. So that's my statement on that matter. I'm sure I'm going to ruffle all the feathers, but I just think that that is ridiculous that as a grown human being, you're going to act like you suddenly are incapable or don't understand how much work it takes to take care of a household.
Yeah, because if you didn't have that wife, who would clean your house? Who would cook? Who would do all of these things? Like, sir, before you had that wife and those children, you would come home from work and you would have to make yourself dinner, or you would go out to dinner, or you would order something. If you came home from work, you would have to do your laundry, clean your house, do your dishes. Why does that stop just because you have a wife? That doesn't make any sense. That's not her job. Her job is to take care of those children and to keep them alive. So you should be helping when you get home. No, it doesn't mean that if she completely trashes the house that you are required to do everything, but maybe you get a cleaning lady. Maybe on Saturday mornings, you give her a break, you take the kids and she goes to the spa or she goes and does whatever she needs to do. Just help out. But most men don't realize just doing the dishes, wiping things down, changing the diaper, even doing a nighttime routine. So, like, if she's had the baby all day, it's not normal for a person to work 17, 18, 19 hours a day. That's how much moms work. They're with the baby all the time. So maybe when you get home from work, you shower, you do whatever, because don't touch my baby with all them outside germs on you. That's disgusting. Shower and change. Sorry, I'm a germaphobe. Wash your hands with hot
I'm the
soapy
same way,
water.
but it just cracked me up. Sorry.
I do not like outside clothes inside the house. Oh my God, and don't get me started on shoes. And when I had a baby, it was 10 times worse because babies crawl and they put everything in their mouth. But once you come home and you have showered and you have on fresh, clean clothes, take that baby. And no, you're not doing it because you feel obligated. That's your child. You should want to spend time with your child. Or if the baby's sleeping, clean up the house, help your wife, make sure she's showered, make sure she's taken care of. Like, if you want a strong, successful marriage, you have to put your wife first and make sure her mental health is good. Whatever you can do to alleviate her tasks. If you're a problem solver at work, be a problem solver in your household. How can I help my wife? How can I make her life easier?
And again, I don't know if this is necessarily the best advice, but I feel like if I was in that situation of the person who wrote this in, I think there's a side of me, like I would have just a very honest conversation. Like, I'm burnt out. I'm going to stay with my girlfriend for a week because I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to figure out taking care of the kids, taking care of everything around the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come back, have that conversation. Because I really do. I think there's some kind of disconnect. They don't understand. If they're
Mm-hmm.
not doing the work themselves, they don't understand. But you're right. It's like when they have that, like, oh, you have a bachelorette weekend and you go away for the weekend, like they
Mm-hmm.
realize like they're calling for help. They're like, Mom, I need you to come watch the kids. Or like, can we go out to dinner? Like, I can't make dinner. They're ordering the food. Like they're not doing
Yep.
all the things. Like they're like whenever a man, I know this from all of my friends, I know this from when I was married, whenever they're left alone, the first thing they do is they start calling for help. There hasn't been a
Immediately.
single one that I know of that actually keeps it all running, keeps it all clean, is actually making meals, is actually watching kids the full amount of time that you are gone. Never, not one. I can't think of one situation where my girlfriend isn't like, oh, yeah, well, they're going to my mom's for like a sleepover the one night, or like, oh, he ordered takeout. Like they
Hmm.
all are doing
Yep.
something because they can't handle it themselves.
Or they just figure out ways to solve the problem. And it's really important to get them to help as much as possible so that they know how much work everything is. Also, if you're doing the grocery shopping, you're in charge of like the meal planning and buying food for the house, doing all of that stuff. It's important for them to go grocery shopping with you because they need to see prices. Prices are insane. And if they're giving you a $150 budget for the week for a family of four, it feels impossible. So I just encourage you to try to get him to help as much as possible. He needs to know what these tasks involve, and he'll appreciate you so much more. And like you said, maybe for giving them the benefit of the doubt, maybe they just didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't realize. So just gently
Mhm.
say, I need help, or you could just say, I'm leaving. You figure it out. Either one works.
I mean, again, I know that might sound a little extreme, but
No, a lot of
think
women
of
do
what
it.
you deal with week to week. Like, I would literally be like, I am so burnt out. I'm not going to be able to keep doing this.
Hmm.
I need a week to go relax and recharge. You're now in charge.
Yeah.
Like, and when we get back, let's talk about how we can make this more manageable for both of us.
And
Like,
a lot of moms,
there's problem solvers. Like, I really need you to come up with some solution for how to solve this because I'm not going to be able to keep doing this.
hmm,
Sometimes
and
I
they
think a nice
will.
little wake up, shake up call.
And a lot of really happy moms, I do notice that they take that time for themselves. They go away for a week or a couple weeks and they recharge. And if you don't have that, if you can't just like leave for a week or two, like Bree said, go visit your mom, go visit your sister, go visit a friend, just get out of the house and give them a chance to see what it's like, what you do, what it's like taking care of the kids. And maybe they can come up with better routines and structure so that you're more successful. Let them get in there and do what they do. If they can do it at work, why can't they do it at home? They can.
And maybe a week, I can see some moms being like, Brie, I couldn't be without my kids for a week. And I
For
understand
sure.
that as a divorced mom. Like, I get it. That's the hardest thing of it. So maybe you do like a long weekend, right? Like, leave on a Friday, don't come home till Monday morning, kind of a
Or
thing.
even a
Like,
day. I'm telling you, those women who would get their hair done, the men would do good usually hour one, two. By hour three, they were going insane. And if it was like an extreme hair like makeover and it was like 6 hours or something, let's say it was like a color correction or something, oh my God, they would have done anything to get that woman home. So could you imagine if you even just take a few hours and then imagine what a few days would do? They'll
yeah,
appreciate you so much more.
yeah, yeah. I feel like it needs to be like a little significant amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah. So they really feel it. Like at least two bedtime routines, right?
Read the look on your face right now. You're so triggered by this question. You're like, I wish you could see your face. Like, you just look so mad.
Well, because I think I feel really mad for women out there because I see it over and over again, like how taken advantage of so many women are, and then how
Mhm.
that's impacting not only their health, but like we were talking about, impacting then their children's well being. Because if
Mhm.
they're not happy, it's impacting their kids' success.
100%.
And I just don't know how we got to this place where it's like men are allowed to be so selfish and able to continue all their hobbies and nothing happens to their bodies, nothing happens to their hormones, nothing is impeding their job success. They don't have to take breaks from the things that matter to them and that they're passionate about. But why is it always on the backs of women? And why is it in the situation where, okay, you're making a ton of money as a man, why does that mean then that your wife gets treated like absolute garbage?
It
Like
doesn't
worse
make
than
any sense.
somebody you'd actually be paying to do the jobs that she's doing. Like it makes me so mad when I
Hmm.
see it happen over and over and over again to
And wouldn't
good
you think
women.
we would be in such a different place in 2025?
Yeah, I really would have thought that. I really would have thought that.
But it really doesn't feel that different than what, our grandparents and everybody else went through. But okay, where do we go from here now?
We're really peppy in this podcast.
Okay, are you ready for this next question?
Sure.
Okay, how do you overcome perfectionism?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I would say I've made leaps and bounds because it had so much to do with both people pleasing, which I don't care anymore. I'm just kind of like, I don't care if I'm anyone's cup of tea. If I'm not, like, no big deal. Um, but there's still certain things I can be a perfectionist about. Like I always like with decor, for example, I'm sure you feel this way when you're putting your mantle together. You're looking at it and you're
Yes.
like, I know something's off. Like I'll be a little bit
Yep.
of a perfectionist about aesthetic things. And you probably do this too with like doing people's hair and makeup and all
Mhm.
that.
Yep,
You're a little bit of a perfectionist about certain
for
things
sure.
that looks wise, you just know
Mhm.
it matters. You don't want it to feel off.
Yep.
But I mean, my house is probably the least far from perfect looking it's been in a very long time as far as a lot of like organization and cleaning. Like, I just some days have to draw the line of like, it's more important for you to have time to rest than for you to
Yes.
make sure every single little thing is clean and organized right
Yep.
now. Or it's more important for you to spend time with the kids than be cleaning or organizing that right now.
Mhm.
So I've definitely, I think,
Absolutely.
put off a lot of things because I care more about quality time with people or quality time for myself, like resting for myself,
Mhm.
which really is at this point for my survival, I feel like, or
It is.
I
Yeah,
couldn't do it as a single mom.
I agree.
Um, and, kind of what we're talking about too, like when you don't have a partner who's there to help support you on a lot of the work, I think you have to make that judgment call of, does everything have to look perfect around the house right now, or is it better that I feel better?
Mhm.
And I think I've been choosing that I just want to feel better.
I love
Of course,
that.
if I could have the best of both worlds and have my house clean, organized, perfect, like mentally I'd be soaring and then have enough time to rest. I mean, I would just be on top of the world, but I have to be realistic, I think, with what my situation is too. So that's why the perfectionism has kind of been thrown out of the window in
Yeah.
some cases. Well, we are out of time for today. I don't know about you, Ashley, but I really enjoyed hearing those confessions. I think we're going to have to do that again.
Yes,
That was
that was
great.
so good. And thank you to everybody who wrote in because I was not expecting it to be so juicy and so good. So thank you. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Yes. And we will be back with another episode every Wednesday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thanks so much for listening and for leaving us a 5-star review. And we'll see you on the next podcast.
Bye.